2012. You probably remember it as the year the world was supposed to explode or something. But thank God it didn't, because otherwise we wouldn't have gotten this. Isn't existence just wonderful? This video is sponsored by Boomslank, an anime-inspired apparel company that I will talk more about later in the video. Thanks guys. So, 2012, what were you doing? For me, I went from being a loser on the school ground to a loser on the school ground that liked anime. Yes, 2012 will probably be the most sentimental in this series of reviewing anime by the year. It's where my journey all started. Of course, you could say that I've liked anime since I was about 7, as I did watch Pokemon on TV, but I don't think that counts as I was basically a goldfish when it came to consuming media that far back. But that's enough about me. Anime in 2012 brought some heat, albeit the amount of hits did vary quite a lot with each season, but actually the best thing about the year as a whole was its variety, and certain shows have had an impact that is still prevalent today. So let's work our way through the year that was 2012, starting with winter. Nothing beats a horror to warm you up in the winter months of the year, and Another seemed like it'd deliver exactly that. And to be fair to Another, it did spook a large chunk of the community and provided some interesting twists as it progressed. At the time, it was completely different to anything I had seen from animation as a whole, plus the music was appropriately spine-chilling. But reflecting on it now, it's not as great as I once thought it was. It has a lot of shock value, but doesn't build on those scenes as well as something like Higurashi, where, and this is no joke, I checked the locks on my door the night I watched it as if a fictional character was out to get me. Although, to be honest, I still think about that infamous umbrella scene. Moving on, let's talk about an anime that turned boys into men, High School DxD. This anime is excellent if you judge it for what it sets out to do, but putting all the testosterone-inducing moments aside, I actually found it quite fun to watch. A secret school population of devils, angels, and fallen angels battling it out just got me going, you know? I don't think any ecchi anime has been able to quite replicate what DxD provided with its best of both worlds approach. Or maybe I'm just really weird, which might actually be it. Elsewhere in winter, the more cultured individuals were enjoying Nisei Monogatari, a continuation from Bake Monogatari that focused more on Araragi's sisters. Nisei is a solid installment in the series, but I'm not the most knowledgeable Monogatari fan out there. Still visually excellent and clever in its presentation, which are two things I value a lot in anime. Outside of these shows, I don't think there's much that is still talked about today from winter 2012, but there was more Zero no Sakaima. I also do recall some people really enjoying the daily lives of high school boys. Moving on to spring, there's a lot to unpack here, my friends. Hyoka, an exceptional example of everything anime can be when care is given to a project. Honestly, I'm disappointed in myself for only having seen it once, as I wish I could recall more from my memory to talk about it. One thing I will praise to no end is its use of colour to contrast the characters of Oreki and Chitanda. It really made the seemingly average setting of a high school feel so much more alive and crafted such a wonderful connection to these characters. There was also the second season of Fate Zero, which competently built on the first part to deliver one of the most well-directed anime ever produced. The emotion you felt for some of the characters in Fate Zero typifies that anime can be just as heartfelt as live action in every way. It was tragic, beautiful, and engaging. Some of the best storytelling I've ever seen. Now, this is embarrassing because I haven't actually seen any other spring 2012 anime, but I know there's a lot of stuff here that deserves attention. Excel World, Kids on the Slope, Kuroko no Basket are just some of the shows this season that still have people praising them now. Other anime like Nyako-san and Kore wa Zombie desu ka might not command the same attention in public, but I know they have dedicated fan bases as well. Before we move on to summer, I want to tell you about today's sponsor, Boomslank. I'll be honest, in the past, when I've searched for anime-inspired apparel, I've been kind of disappointed. A lot of it just looks bad, particularly the shirts where they've obviously just lazily shoved a JPEG on there and sent it to the printer. But Boomslank is the opposite of this, with each of their stunning designs featuring unique artwork specifically made for their products. They've got shirts, prints, phone cases, and more. They look fantastic fantastic, by the way. A personal favourite of mine is Paper Plane. As a travel lover, the vibe it gives off overall is perfect for me. So if you want to support QuickTaku, please consider having a browse of their website through the link in the description below. I'm certain there's a design that fits you perfectly. Thanks again Boomslang for sponsoring. We cannot talk about summer without first addressing one of the most seismic occurrences in the anime community to date, Sword Art Online. People really loved this show, and I can completely see why, particularly if you were a 13 to 16 year old like me at the time. Kirito was the gamer kid turned badass that seemed to have a new character fall in love with him every couple of episodes. Asuna was, well, Asuna, and I mean, who doesn't love Asuna? The whole trapped in a game thing just really appealed to people, and this idea of being taken from our world and plopped in a crazy different one really kicked off an anime trend because of SAO. So yeah, love it or hate it, you've got to at least give it some credit for the mark it's been able to leave. Actually, 10 years later, the SAO series is still coming out with new content. Impressive to say the least. But that headliner was not all, my friend, definitely not. We also had Kokoro Connect. This drama romance with a sprinkle of supernatural mystery really captured my attention. It was the first anime where I really paid attention to the smaller details of characters and the way they act, as it defined them more than their glaringly obvious traits. The enigma that was Heartseed was only a catalyst to get these characters to interact in potentially awkward and uncomfortable ways, but that was what was interesting to me. Also, Inaba was the first case of me declaring best girl with the kind of confidence anime fans are renowned for. Humanity Has Declined was a rather special show, as nothing with its unique comedic identity has really come out since. It wasn't all just laughs either. If you pay close enough attention, it does make some pretty interesting statements on mankind's tendencies. Now, fall 2012 is a season of iconic anime. Psycho Pass aired, which I was so happy about because I could tell people that anime wasn't just for kids. It was a stylish yet gritty psychological experience that has a lot of things to love about it. For one, the idea of using Psycho Pass as a justice system / metric was an interesting dystopian idea to explore. On the other end of the spectrum, you had the pet girl of Sakura So, with its bright colour palette and humorous moments. But by the end of it, you take away something really important, something that genuinely changed my life at least. It's along the lines of failure being inevitable and that accepting it to become better is vital. There was also JoJo, which I didn't watch until much later, but if you've seen it, you know, it's pretty damn epic. Little Busters came out to satisfy all of us Key fans. It may not be the strongest anime adaptation of one of their works, but still solid overall. 3 words: Girls und Panzer. This anime about girls in tanks was a home run for me. I loved it. Which is funny, because I wouldn't exactly classify myself as a military buff, but shove cute girls in those advanced combat vehicles and you have my full attention. You might laugh at me for saying this, but the way it scales action is some of the best in any fictional work. Ecchi fans were also eating good with Oni Eye and To Love Through Darkness, which I haven't seen directly, but I've seen clips and yeah, I get the appeal. What a season to end off 2012. Of course, I know there's going to be one comment about how nostalgia is blinding my judgment with this statement I'm about to make, but I think that 2012 was one of anime's best years overall. Whether you like horror, drama, or boobs, you were catered to with some of the best shows in those genres. It was a time when watching anime via simulcasts was slowly overtaking this traditional idea of watching things only when they are finished. So as well as having a great selection, it was an exciting time to be a fan. And although anime wasn't as big of a community as it is now, that kind of made all the changes and hype feel a little more special and in your face. I have my initial spark and love for animation rooted in this year, and I know I'm not alone there. So thank you 2012, and I'll ask you this, do you have any warm memories from the year? I've been Russ, and have a great night or day.